I have to, reshare it and all that. And I have to answer all the messages. People are like, what happened? What happened? What happened? What happened?
Yeah, dog,
Listen, guys, I know the feed dropped out. I'm very aware. I'm working on it.
yeah.
It's very stressful. I am aware. I'm trying my best.
Don't. Yeah,
It's just I don't know. Just
we're up. We're up.
I know we're up. I know we're up. I'm aware. I just man, I'll tell you. Sometimes people they don't understand like. It's maybe not the best strategy to hound people when they're in the middle of fighting a crisis. And and it's not just here. It's the world we live in today. People just don't understand like, hey, people are trying to do something. Let me just add to it. It's like, oh, yeah, thanks.
It happens.
I know.
Yeah, people mean well in that one. That I understand that.
I know. I hate when these things happen because it becomes this like you know why? Because it becomes this vacuum of like panic for everybody. And it is what it is. There's no reason for it. It just sucks. I hate it. Let me see here. I'm trying to fix a few things on my end, so I apologize. But I had so much energy coming into this tonight. I was so excited, and now I'm just putting out the fire. So I apologize. I don't know if you guys want to get something going while I do this, just so we don't have any dead air.
Oh.
I got a couple of issues that I'm hearing about, so I'm just trying to investigate those. Let me see here.
Looking forward to playing with the new lighter tonight.
Yeah, me too. I got a new lighter here as well. All right, well let's just go with this, and whatever happens happens. But I have a lot of stuff I wanted to get to tonight, and I hate when stuff like this happens. But
part of what we do is
But good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Spare Notes series. We're limping in tonight, but unfortunately, that's kind of how it goes sometimes, and you just kind of have to take them, and you have to deal with it. You know what I always say, Coop? What is it I always say? I only work with the cards that I'm dealt.
Technical issues are part of the game. We had a couple of weeks where the Zoom integration wasn't working with Facebook at all. It was problematic. It was very problematic, and I'm still not satisfied with the resolution of it. But it was a big issue.
Yeah, shit happens, It
does. It does. It doesn't,
But hey, I guess the show goes on, so to speak. But we're here. We have a couple things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about. I'll give you the bullet list ahead of time so you know what's to come. Because I'm in a great mood today. We're going to talk about PCA this week and next weekend. Probably more so next weekend because hopefully there's more to talk about next weekend. And we'll get to what that means, Coop. We'll get to what that means, as I'm sure you know. We're going to talk about some stupid, gimmicky bullshit products like ashtrays that are designed to cool your cigar because that's nothing but a money grab. And I'll talk about what that is. We'll talk about a couple of things that I saw that also kind of relate to PCA that were on Facebook today. I know we'll talk, and that'll be a little more fun, but or that was maybe yesterday. And then actually there was another Facebook thing I saw today which I thought was great. And there's so much to talk about, and I'm gonna be honest with you. There might be some ruffled feathers, but at the end of the day, what did Coop? You're old enough to get this reference, and I think you watched this show. You remember Sanford and Son, right?
Yeah.
You remember Red Fox?
One of the greatest shows of all time. Yeah.
Do you remember the episode when Lamont came home and he was like, "I'm getting sick and tired of you calling me a dummy," and he was like, "I call it like I see them."
I call it.
That's what I do. I call it like I see them. You might not like it, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So I saw some things, and I'm like, what are people doing nowadays? You know what I mean? It's like, what's funny is that some of the I don't know if I'm gonna get specifically into this piece. I'll tell you maybe this off the air, but I consistently see a trend with employees from a particular brand, and I just don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know if company. I don't know if it's just the people they pick, and maybe they don't know how to pick people. I don't know what it is, but they love to do things that look so poorly against the company's values, and I'm like, what is going on over here? Where's the divide? Anyway, lot to bring up, lot to talk about. So,
Pat's having audio issues.
Is Pat having audio issues?
Yeah.
Man. See, Pat, this is why you got to be in the studio. Let me see here.
No, it should work. It should still work though.
I know. I'm just giving him a hard time.
Now?
I can hear you.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
I can. I'm not touching anything.
All right. There you go.
Okay.
All right. As long as there's communication back and forth, we're good.
All right. Perfect.
So, first and foremost, Coop, let's talk about our sponsored segments and do some of those things first because they are very important. But I don't want to get so roped into our discussion that we forget about them. First and foremost, Perdomo Cigars, fantastic. Our cigar of the year at SmokingTobacco.com.
Our cigar of the year. You had the wrong one, but that's okay.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. You did too. I don't think this has ever happened before. We share almost the same cigar, same brand, same line,
but
different wrappers.
but both rappers landed on both lists. So you had the Maduro on your list, and I had my number one, and you had the Sungrown number one, and Sungrown landed on my list. So it was a win-win. Yeah.
I liked all three. Like
all three made my list.
I thought the Connecticut was good, but the feedback I've gotten from people was that the Connecticut shade was the least favorite, which is weird because I smoked it and I thought it was great, but
I thought it was great too. It was top 10 for me.
But I've gotten a lot of people, not that people said it sucked, but it was like, oh, it's definitely the weakest of the three.
Right.
And I mean, I guess if you look at the scores on our website and your website, maybe so, but you know, I loved it. I thought it was great, but you know, and all of them were good. So and the Connecticut didn't make our list, but yours made our list. Just outside the top 10, you had the Maduro. What size? The Epicure?
The Epicure.
All right. So Epicure, Sungrown, and Maduro were on our list. Sungrown is number 1. Maduro was number 11, I think, or 12, 11 or 12. You had number 1 for Maduro, and then your Sungrown and your Connecticut were where?
7 for the Connecticut and 22 for the Sungrown.
Really? Sungrown that low?
It made the list.
It made the list, but we gave it number 1. You give it 22. I'm trying to figure out where the gap is.
Well, I can tell you what the gap is. There's, everything's based on reviews on Coop. So there was a lot. I had over 170 reviews last year. So it was a lot of reviews. My reviews were up last year. So there was a lot of competition. So, like, when you get into, like, even that difference between 7 and 22 was, like, splitting hairs in a lot of cases. There were fractional differences.
Yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's all subjective, right? Yeah. It's all subjective. There's no right or wrong answer, technically. So
no, there isn't.
You had a great list, and that's fine. And that's how yours scored, and that's how you felt.
Yeah, there were 2 great lists, and I actually just submitted the awards this week. I was way behind on doing that, so I had to put a rush job on them so I bring them to the show.
What was I tagged Jay because Jay's a big supporter of the show. I need to make sure he's here. I also tagged Steve.
Jay's traveling this week.
Is he?
He's visiting.
Why did I tag Steve? I know, yeah. Why did I tag Steve? Because it's going to be fun. And I want to get Steve's feedback. And it's funny because Steve's traveling too, but he did say he had some good inputs that he wanted to share. I'm hoping he'll comment and then we can talk about it.
He got a lot of attention already, though.
He did.
Misinformation. Misinformation.
He did, but that's why we're here, because we're going to talk about why there was misinformation. That's what we do. And I love Steve. So, let's just, and Steve's one of the good sports. We can hash it out and move on, unlike some people who go on social media and they just dig themselves a hole. So, But anyway, Perdomo Cigars, quality, tradition, and excellence. Our cigar of the year for 2024, Sungrown Epicure. Perdomo is one of the best, really, this year for us. They're the best. They were number 1. So, and Cigar Coop. So, I mean, really, they cleaned up awards-wise. So, I mean, it's hard to argue that they aren't the best. I mean, they rounded it up. And now they got the Perdomo Legacy coming out this year, which Nicholas is going to be on the show Wednesday night. We're going to talk about it. And then we'll see it at the PCA trade show in a few weeks. So, that's going to be really exciting. And I think for a brand like Perdomo, and I really won't get too into the weeds on this one, but most people know how that brand operates, how often they release something, the kind of stuff they release. From what I already know, and I'm probably going to learn more, about Legacy, I think this is going to be extra special of a project, considering how Perdomo operates as a brand. They're not a brand that's just constantly just throwing random shit out there. I know a little bit about this and the reasoning behind it, and I think for a brand like Perdomo, this is going to be a very special project, and I think it's going to be a really cool release. I haven't smoked or seen it, but using history and what I know, I have a lot of excitement over this, so I can't wait to talk to Nicholas about it and to see and hear more about it. So I think it's going to be another fun year for Perdomo Cigars. Also, Perdomo Cigars is not the only friend we have here tonight. That's right, we have our friends from Drew Estate in the Drew Estate Cigar Studio, the Gurkha Cigar Studio, which is dark tonight, and we also have our friends from ST Dupont. That's right, Shake Up the Legacy, featuring the new monogram collection. I have the gold line too, as does Coop has the palladium, and Pat I think has the black, all from the same collection. It's brand new, featuring the new ST Dupont wordmark logo, which I don't really want to unfocus my camera, but it's right right there. Look at that. So not really the script logo. This is the new monogram logo, and this is the new monogram collection. Honestly, look, the line 2, like the models are all the same, the designs differ, but I will say, out of all the designs that I've seen them do, this one's really cool. I like the way this one looks. There it is up close. There's the line 2 in gold. Just a beautiful lighter. I mean, come on, you can't beat that. That is just fantastic. It is just a fantastic lighter. Ask your local retailer today for ST Dupont products now. All right, so Coop, first of all, I want to get the easy stuff out of the way. Last week we weren't here. You were in Florida because you went to the Magic City again, and then you took a little road trip up the coast to West Palm Beach, where you were at the Great Smoke, which is Smoke Inn's famous event. I've been there. I don't know if Pat's been there, but I've been there, and you've been there a bunch of times. What was the vibe at Great Smoke this year compared to other years?
Very positive this year. A lot of people felt this was the one of the best events that took place. In terms of Abe's been doing it 19 years. There was the crowd was definitely there.
Energy.
There was energy. People were happy. Absolute. I didn't really hear it. I heard a couple of the guys talk about like the virtual smoke. There was, they were trying to keep on the schedule. But honestly, I think if you were in the crowd, you didn't notice that, right?
Right.
So, yeah, it was, and I think it's getting more. Like I'm seeing it get more interactive. And what I like, what's happening over the last few years, is I hate that word activation stations. I like calling them interactive booths. But companies are getting away from the tablecloth model. One of the real interesting booths that I thought, like La Polina had this coffin booth, and they were kind of just doing things in a coffin, and they were kind of tying it into, the theme of the event was the Renaissance Festival, so I think they were tying that coffin in like with the result of like the Renaissance Festival.
Can I just pause you for a second? When I hear you say that, it reminds me of the trade show. Because we go to the trade show. I mean, there's tablecloth booth, but then you have there's a lot of booths that are like not a tablecloth. It's like a whole experience. So it's kind of cool that a brand would try to think outside the box, make something different, but bring that kind of experience to the consumer who don't get to like go to the show and see like some of the elaborate booths that we get to see.
Right. It's not quite PCA level.
Sure.
Getting there. They had like interactive archery there. Drew Estate had they've done the interactive games.
Oh, they're kings of that.
Yep. It has a little more of a festival vibe. Abe had a soccer squatch guy dressed up in a soccer squatch suit wandering around. One thing that I really like about the Great Smoke is, I typically Abe gives me a ticket, right? And it's not a VIP ticket, right? But right out like right. You've been to the Great Smoke, but you weren't in the one in the convention hall, right? You were in the one under the tents, or you were in the convention hall?
In the
The year you
building?
went.
I was in the
The
one in the
building.
building. Like the
Okay,
fairground
so
building? That's where I
yes.
was.
Okay, so right before the event, and Abe has a system where you don't wait online. Like it's just it's that well staffed, right? You go, but they don't open the doors to the general public until 1 o'clock, right? Because the VIPs go in there, right?
Yep.
But there's this courtyard outside, and it's become one of my favorite parts of the Great Smoke every year, where people are in the courtyard, and it's a great chance to catch up with people. You see them. Actually, Zeno was sponsoring the courtyard, so your buddy Tom was there. Tom Zybird was there.
Tommy!
Yep. And it actually is becoming one of my favorite parts of the Great Smoke is that that a half hour I'm out there. And like I said, there's no line. You're not waiting. Like, if you want to stand on line to get in the door first, you can, but you don't need to, right? You can just hang out and smoke in the courtyard. And, guys like Kevin Shahan are always there, shirtless Mike. I love those guys. And I know Kevin's actually becoming more closer with him a lot these days. And it's always Trip. I met Trip out there. That's one of my favorite parts. Once I go in, right, I'm in the manufacturer area for the whole time pretty much. So I'm going around from booth to booth. And the other thing that they've changed since you've been there is no more tickets. So
oh, you mean where you go and you're like, here you go, and you get your cigar? Yeah.
Yeah, they give you the cigars when you walk in, right? Which is much easier, right? And I love that model.
So that is what David Garofalo does with New England Cigar Expo. When you get there, you check in, they give you the thing, here you go, you're all set. And then you're done. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I like this model. And then the other thing is now they don't have a TGS store. Like Abe's people used to man a store in the center. Now all the buying happens. Now he makes the manufacturers do the work.
Really?
What I will say, yeah. So they do the sales there at the booth.
Okay.
And yeah, they do it. I guess that's part of the
I mean,
deal.
is it still processed as a smoke-in transaction?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. If I had to say the one thing that, and I always like to say, this is beyond Abe's control. The one thing that I thought was a little down this year is some of the principals weren't there. And it seemed, and this seems to happen every few years. I mean, yes, Saka was there, Malillo was there, Nick Perdomo was there. But there were a lot more national sales reps and national sales managers there this year. That just tends to go in. This thing just tends to go in cycles, and that happens. I imagine next year Abe's going to put a harder push for the principals, and he always tries to push for the principals to be there. But Eric Espinoza, he had to leave. He had a personal commitment, but he did come for a little while. Pete was there. I'll say Pete was there. So there were some, but it seemed like it was a little more down this year on that. But otherwise, like I said, it is a really good event. I get grief every year, and I don't quite understand this. That people think I'm not at the Great Smoke, right? I don't know where it comes from, and it's a legitimate. You think it's a joke? It's not a joke.
No, I don't think it's a joke. I just think it's funny that people would think that.
Abe even one year didn't know I was there. Okay, so and I mean the answer is very simple. I come in when I'm outside that courtyard, which I just mentioned. I come in, I walk around to the manufacturer booths, right? But what I've kind of done a little analysis this year on this, right? Every person who's saying this to me is a VIP sitting at their private table in the VIP section. So one is I can't come to the VIP section, right? So if you want to find me, I'm in the manufacturer area. The other thing is, and I don't mean this to sound elitist, I'm not the type of guy who will chase someone down. Like, this is where I am. When I go to Miami, I'm like, you know how I am. I go to my usual place. If you want to hang out with me, I'd love for you to. But I'm too old to be chasing people around town. And certainly I'm getting too old to chase people around the Great Smoke. So it's just my age faking it. So I'm there. And I said next year, if someone wants to give me some sort of a GPS device, that they can find me. I don't know how you would do it. I think you could probably do it through your phone, I would guess. Do it. And I'm there from 1 until the doors close, and people will tell you I'm there till the doors close because when I see people packing up an hour early, they get shit from me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's funny that people in this industry think that they can go to an event or they go to the trade show, and they can show up an hour late and fumble around and take their time,
and leave an hour
and then
early,
and then they're like, oh, there's an hour to go, let's just pack up and go. It's like, so they're losing. So the consumer who paid money to go and see you is losing 2 hours of an opportunity to see you. They lose time because they got to go sit and eat and spend time with other people. So really, like, you're giving them when you really boil it down to dollars and cents, they really only have a small window to spend time with you because you're taking away 2 hours from it right off the top, like a skim. 2 hours are gone because you're going to leave early and show up late. I think that's pretty unprofessional, if you ask me. I don't know who did that, but I don't care who it is. That's unprofessional.
I'm not going to out anyone.
No, and I don't expect you to. But and it doesn't matter. But I think that's unprofessional.
Yeah. Now, a guy like Eric Espinoza, for example, he had a legitimate reason. He was double booked for an event, and he had to get a.
That happens.
That happens. Sometimes there's a personal situation. That's why I don't. That happened once. Someone was out a couple years ago.
What was Caldwell's excuse a few years ago at the trade show when they left all their shit in their booth space and they put it online like, look at us, fuck you guys, we're out of here. It's like that's just rude.
Yeah.
And not from Etten, but that's the kind of guy that Robert Caldwell is. I mean, he just he sees the media coming, he runs away, he leaves the show a day and a half early, he leaves his trash on the floor. That's just the kind of people they are. So some companies are like that, and whatever it is, what it is.
Now I'll say this: like Steve Saka, is he sells out usually of all of his inventory by a certain time, and he stays till the end. So this is not like, I don't want to say people aren't staying to there are Nick Perdomo's there till the end. Okay,
you get class.
But there are some. Yeah, no, they do, and I got to say this about every year. It's Team Perdomo out there. It's Arthur, it's Nick, it's Janine, it's Nicholas. They truly love the event. So
because they like what they do, and they're professional.
Yeah, they do, and they do. They love engaging with. They're really good at engaging with consumers, and I know you have Nicholas on Wednesday, right? And I think he's a special kid. I've interviewed him, and I'm telling you, the future of Perdomo is in great shape with him. He knows what he's doing, and
Perdomo, the passing of the torch of Perdomo is going to be a very seamless transition.
Yeah, it really is, and I think Nick is. He hasn't rushed his son either into that.
Nope.
But I think he's done. I think Nicholas has done it. And I see now Nicholas getting more involved with operations now. And obviously, he's very involved with the Legacy Project, so it's more than just sales. I think that's why Giannini came in too. I think that Nicholas is starting to spread his wings a little more, and they needed someone, and certainly a guy like Giannini has big sales experience, can help with that. So I think it was a good move. But like I said, I didn't go to any of the after parties, so that's just not my thing, to be honest with you. They're crowded and loud. I didn't go to the Red Meat Lovers Club dinner because I do observe Lent, and obviously I can't eat meat. But I got to say this about Evan Darnell, man. The guy's got a heart of gold. He really wanted me to come, and he was offering like next year if it conflicts to do seafood. And Evan, I wouldn't ask you to do that. I'd love to come, but
that dude's awesome. He's awesome.
If he actually did that, I'm coming. I'm actually gonna come to that. As much as somebody Evan will drive us crazy, right? The guy's got a heart of gold. And I've been to the Red Meat Lovers dinners. It's great. They're great. Oh, the other news is I guess Saka is now the permanent like kind of featured person or company or host, whatever you want to call it. So Saka is gonna have the event down every year. It's a Saka dinner now.
Oh.
So
interesting.
I'm sure there's a lot of other manufacturers not happy about it. But that's what Steve. I didn't hear that, but Steve in one of his posts said that. And let me tell you something. If you get Steve Saka saying compliments at a 4-hour event, you've done something right. Abe's done an amazing job with this event. It's that's why I have a relationship with KMA, is why I go. But I've been going to Great Smoke for about 11 years. I think I've missed 2 because of pro cigar conflicts. But yeah,
Except last year, you made it close.
I wasn't going last year until I had a little help with Mike Herkotz with the ride back.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, which I think I mentioned that we talked about that on the last show. They were paying for Mike's flight whether I was on it or not. So that's how a charter works. So, but Mike did go through the channels to get permission for me to go on it too, because I had to still give my paperwork and all that to them.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, there's still a protocol when you fly private. It's
it's
better than flying publicly, but it's still a protocol.
Yeah, exactly. So I give this, like I said, this was definitely one of the. Am I the guy every year who says this is the great smoke of all time? No, but this one was, in my book, the best one I've seen to date. I think that's how good it was.
Well, that's good. No, I'm glad you had a good time. I mean, it's a great event. Out of the consumer events, I would say it's one of the bigger consumer events, if not the biggest. Is it bigger than is it bigger than Rocky Mountain or Big Smoke?
Big Smoke, no. Big Smoke, maybe. Big Smoke, maybe. I'd say Rocky Mountains, from what Eric told me, it's bigger.
Okay. All right.
I mean, Dave's event, I wouldn't put Dave's event as a big event. It's getting there.
I think it's up to 1,000. It's roughly 1,000 attendees.
That's a big event, but yeah, these other events have been over a decade old. So I mean, Dave's is going to get in that category.
Dave will grow. Dave will grow. Yeah.
Dave will grow. Yeah, that's you figure out how to do things.
Well, historically, Dave always did the anniversary dinner, which was 500 people, which is a lot. But I think, respectively, I don't think he really marketed a hell of a lot. I mean, people would fly in for it, but I don't think it was heavily marketed to like national attendance. Right. Whereas now, I think the New England Cigar Expo is more of like we want you to travel here for it. And I think that's why they expanded, because they went from 500 to 1,000, and I think as it gets more popular, it'll grow like everything else. I think the plan is for it to get bigger and have more people travel here for it, which is great. I mean, I think that's a great plan, and you should do that. So I think you're right.
Yep.
But I'm just saying, I think historically, I don't think they really marketed the anniversary dinner like. I think it was more like the locally. Some people traveled because they got the Cigar Authority. People listen to them everywhere. But I think the expo is now really being like, hey, we want you to travel here for it. They're really pushing like the just outside of New England, which is good. And they should have more traffic, more revenue. Oh, we lost Coop. Uh-oh. Oh, great. We lost Coop. Uh-oh. Hopefully he'll be right back.
Shit.
Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. Boy, what a show. Huh? What a show. Maybe this is a sign. I don't know. Well, hopefully he'll be right back.
How many years has Dave been doing that expo?
The expo started 2 years ago. He's done 2. This year of 25 will be the 3rd one. The anniversary dinner he's done for a long. I don't think he did it. I don't think he did it since day 1. But I think he's been doing it at least 15 or 20. So this is his 40th year. I think the anniversary dinner was at least like 15 or 20 years. I think. I could be wrong. And Dave listens to the show. He'll correct me. I think. But the New England Cigar Expo started in 2022? 2023.
This is the 3rd year, right?
Yeah. Coop, do you know how long he did the anniversary party?
I don't know.
I know he hasn't done it since day 1, but I want to say at least like 15 or 20 years he did the original anniversary dinner.
I think it's at least 20 years, I would say.
Yeah.
Like I said, that event it's like you said, it's been more of a local event. Now it's becoming a national event.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, they're growing, which is bigger and better. I mean,
yeah. And I actually always wanted to go to the anniversary dinner, and he used to have it midweek, which is like which is a problem. Now the festival or the expo, we call it, is a weekend, so that makes it a little more manageable.
I have to pause for a second because I just got a note off of this cigar that I've never gotten in any other cigar. And when I tell you, you're going to be like, huh? But I really enjoy it, and it might have something to do with the fact of what I ate today. I fucking dropped it. I mean, you can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. This day has just been one thing after another. So, by the way,
Chicago hot dog?
Huh?
Yeah, Chicago hot dog.
I did not have one today, actually.
We'll talk about that later. I'm not gonna derail you, but
we'll get into it. But no, I did not have one.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck this thing is.
I'm actually gonna help you out with that one. So.
Good. So I'm smoking the La Aurora Ecuador Perfecto. The one in the green tube, which I think I already threw it away. But and I just got the craziest flavor note off of this cigar. I've never had this or anything close to it on any cigar I've ever smoked. I've smoked thousands of cigars. Pan-seared, like fresh, pan-seared scallops in like a butter sauce with a little bit of garlic.
What did you eat for dinner?
I don't know what it is, but the last 10 minutes, it's all I've tasted. I had fried clams today at the world famous Clam Box of Ipswich today.
This is a place you've been telling me about.
Oh yeah, when you come to New England, we have to make sure I bring you there because you are going to be like, this place is no joke. Yeah. My mom even said today, she was like, when Coop comes to town, we got to bring him here. I'm like, I know.
I'm in. Days. I want to go.
I was like, Coop likes to eat. If I say, well, Coop, we got to bring you to eat, I was like, yeah, let's go.
Is that in Nashua?
No, Ipswich, Massachusetts.
Ah.
Yeah, it's and I got a fisherman's platter, and I shared it with Nicole's brother, along with a lobster roll and their clam chowder, which is the best. And I had fried scallops, shrimp, strip clams, and was there anything? No, there's no calamari on that one. But not really the same kind of scallops, but I'm like, I get pan-seared scallops with like a melted butter and garlic. And it's all I can taste for the last few minutes. And I didn't taste anything. I didn't taste any of that before. So, and the clams and the scallops I had today were fried, so not even really like the same thing. But I'm like, damn, this is a weird flavor note, but I really enjoy it. Isn't it weird how you taste things sometimes?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm really liking this cigar. I mean, this is a crazy note. I'm like, I have to stop and say this before I forget. Oh, boy. Anyway, I'm sorry. We were talking about the Great Smoke. We're talking about Dave's event. Both are great. And it's nice to see those. You know, it's funny. We talk about some of the bigger shops, the bigger privately owned shops, I should say. Two Guy Smoke Shop, Smoke Inn, Corona. I'm surprised, unless I'm just living under a fucking rock. Does Corona do any big event like that? I don't think so.
They don't. Jeff has not done a multi-vendor event. Now,
and
Jeff
I'm surprised because he's a big store.
But he does a lot of big events. The more single focus.
Yeah, that's true.
And I have Jeff coming on the show next month. I'm going to ask him that question. I've never asked him that question.
Because I feel like he could easily kill one of those events.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, and but maybe he's against it because he feels that there's other things that are bad. I mean, and he might have a good reason. I don't know.
It's
and it is. But I just feel like, I mean, Corona. I mean, they could kill one of those things.
Yeah, but I don't remember them ever doing. I mean, but they have big events though.
Yeah.
So like they bring in some very someone's going down there next week who's big. I don't
like a manufacturer.
Yeah.
Oh, Jay Davis is here. I just got excited. Sorry. I like when I see Jay because I love Jay because he's one of the better, contributors to the show. My mom's here too.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, Mrs. Tabacco.
Yeah, she's here.
Hello. So I got to apologize to everybody tonight. I'm smoking my cigar tonight, and by the way, I confirmed this, Matt. So I got this cigar, this LG cigar, in my Pro Cigar pack, right? And when I pulled it out and I was looking at it, I'm like, this looks darker, right? And Matt was correct. This is the La Flor Dominicana TAA 55, the Emerald, which I love La Flor, and I'm not apologizing for smoking a La Flor, but I am apologizing for smoking a TAA cigar. So,
that's a cardinal sin for William Cooper, smoking TAA.
Well, I did get but so I am apologizing.
Oh boy. You know what, Coop?
Yeah. But it's very good. Look, if it had be anyone, it's gonna be LaFleur. I love LaFleur's. So this is very tasty too, by the way.
You know, I'm just gonna say this publicly because I've said it for years, and I'm not hiding behind this. But when it comes to first of all, I'm not gonna get into the whole TAA thing. The TAA thing is bullshit, and I know all the retailers.
We're not gonna get into it.
Listen, hold on, wait. All the retailers who watch, I know, go like, oh, listen, I don't want to hear it. You guys can go down and do the Dream Machine. I don't give a shit. The TAA is a bunch of bullshit. That's what we think. And a lot of the media thinks that way. That's all I'm going to say. When it comes to the TAA releases, most of them, meh. There's only a handful of companies that get it right. And LaFleur is one of them. Consistently, LaFleur is one of them.
They do, and they put a lot of effort into it. So I can't knock if and there's a few companies that do. Pete does a good job with those as well, but Espinosa. But yeah, like I said, this wrapper is definitely dark. It's definitely it's got some kick. This cigar, I'll tell you that. For a TAA cigar, usually don't get a kick like this on it.
Is that the LG?
It's the LG that they did for the TAA, so it has the darker wrapper.
Yeah, I remember PCA 23. They were showing the LGs, and they never came out. And then this year's TAA,
they never came out.
Nowhere.
Yep, exactly. Carney was telling me for 3 years they're coming out, and they didn't come out that year. And if they did, I just didn't know about it.
Yeah, I feel like that was what they had at the PCA trade show, and then for whatever reason wasn't ready, and then 2 years later in TAA they put it out.
But this is quintessential LaFleur Dominicana. It's got some kick to it. It's got this wrapper is really good. It's very tasty. This cigar. I gotta say they probably did a better cigar than the TAA deserved. So.
Yeah, Matt and I smoked that together like probably a few months ago now.
Yeah.
No, it's very good.
It is tasty. I agree with you guys on that.
Matt Tabacco, if TAA invites us, nope. Jay, I'm not doing it. Jay, I'm not doing it.
I won't do it either.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
I'm not gonna get into it, but yeah, I would not go.
Not doing it. Nope. The ship, Jay. All I'm gonna tell you, the ship has sailed, and I won't go. They could pay me to go. I won't go. That's it. That's all I'm gonna say. Fuck them. That's it.
Well, I just fundamentally, it's not good business for Cigar Coop. No one's interested in these cigars on Coop, so I just can't see.
Jay, I love you, and it's a bigger issue than just me or Coop. Believe me. Yeah. It's talked about, so it's an issue. Just like everyone just like everyone, I'll do the demonstration. Everyone can make fun of me later, but all the manufacturers that like to do this with the press releases with Cigar Aficionado, yeah, your time's coming too. So just keep doing this with Marvin because it's coming. Don't ask me when your shit's not on my website because I ain't doing it anymore. And that's just the end of that. So I ain't doing it. So anyway, now that we got all that crap out of the way, because I'm done. I ain't doing it anymore. I worked too hard to get passed over. I'm done. So whatever. It is what it is. I know, Coop. I know you don't like it, but it is. I worked too hard to get insulted. So I ain't doing it anymore. Yeah, no, Jay, I'm not. So if you want to send your press release to Cigar Aficionado 3 days before me, that's it. That's all I get to say. And manufacturers have been told. So that is what it is. That's where we're at. So anyway, so let's talk about the PCA. PCA is coming up a couple of weeks, and it's been quiet, but we're starting to see some stuff come out. Now,
it was a busy week.
It was a busy week because we started to see some of the what's the way I want to say it? Some of the things starting to break. We got some announcements. Like Perdomo Legacy, we knew that hasn't been sent out, but it's been communicated. We know it's going to be talked about at the show, but it's not going to be.
I like what they're doing. They're unveiling it at the show. That's the way to do it. Now they're promoting it very well going into the show, and they're going to unveil it at the show. That's the way you do it. To me, that's the best, and it gives you a reason to go to the Perdomo booth that day.
That's right. That's right. And that's, again, why Perdomo is one of those companies where, they do a good job. Everyone wants to make comments about, oh, look at the Perdomos and their nice suits and blah, blah, blah. But they run a very successful business. And they know what they're doing. So they're going to have good traffic in their booth at the show because they know what they're doing. So I'm excited for it. And Nicholas is going to come on the show this week, and he's probably going to tease some of it and talk a little bit about it. But because I think that's his plan. But I think that the real, grand unveiling at the show in the booth and just letting people show up to see it, I think that's the way. And honestly, I think it's great. And I think that is the way. I agree. I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
And I think it, before we even get to the show, Coop, I think it's one of the reasons why, like you do the big board and you have all that. For me, I kind of do something a little different, but I keep a list of like, who won the show, who lost the show. For me, we haven't even gotten to New Orleans yet. Doing like the pre-speculative, I think Perdomo is already at the top of the win list because I think that they have something cool and I think they're handling it the best way before we even get there.
They're up there. I think Altadis has got some very compelling products they're bringing to the table this year.
Yeah, I agree.
And I know there's more. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that I would put them very high on that list. And I'm going to put a very small brand out there that's got a lot going on. Postani.
They do.
I mean, they have not only do they have some limiteds, and they have the San Andreas is pretty much going to have a full release there. And if you want, and even that people like that Viso Horny cigar, so they're distributing that. So for a small company, they have a lot going on, and they're doing a really good job. By the way, as much as those guys drive me crazy and I bust their balls, every day Mike Palmer has got the Postani brand out there, and that's what you need to do. He's not just putting come to booth 14, the booth number posts. No, he's giving you a reason to check out his brand, and I think he's done one of the best jobs. And as much as I bust his balls, he's done a good job.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah. The show's going to be interesting. I think well, let me take I think back. My hope is that the show is a little bit better than the show last year was a good show. It wasn't as busy as I'd like to see it, but I'm hoping this year's a little better. I don't expect it to be night and day, but I'm hoping it's a little bit better. Now that at least everyone's kind of had like another year to adjust to the change. Might still take some more time than that, but I'm hoping it's a little bit better. Like schedule change. And, because, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I know, like, new product. I mean, the thing is, everyone always expects a new product, right? And it's exciting to see a new product. And for us, it's like we kind of focus on what's new, what's going on, because we communicate that to you, and then we tell you how it is. So for us, it's fun when there's new stuff. I mean, when there's a shit ton of new stuff, it gets overwhelming. There's so much to cover. But I still like to see a bunch of new stuff, or different products, or something innovative, or something cool, or something that's got a huge buzz, like Perdomo Legacy, and Fuente Padron came out a few years ago. That was like the big thing. Like, oh, Fuente Padron. It's all anyone talked about for like 3 years. We like seeing products like that. I think the consumer likes to see products like that. The retailers.
There's not a release like that this year.
There's not. A Perdomo Legacy, I think, is going to be cool, but it's not going to be like the Padron Fuente thing where like it was just like wow, or
we had Padron Fuente. We had Padron 60th last year. 2 years ago we had the My Father Tatuaje. So we've had some of those coming out. I don't know if Carlito's going to announce the Black Pinks or not.
Yeah,
Carlito, he won't.
You never know with them.
You never know with them. So my guess is I think we'll see the Black Pinks, but will they be announced beforehand? Probably not.
Jay just wants us to get to this one. Saka's going to leave blood in the streets this year.
By the way, I do think Saka...
he's going to have a big year.
He is going to have a big year.
He's going to have a big year.
Bigger than last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I actually saw a comment from Jay. The problem why I can't put 2024 on there...
and I wasn't at 2015, so I can't really comment.
2015 was bad, but 2019 was worse. 2019 was the worst trade show. That was
that year fell apart.
That's when people were just ready to go home. the issue why I can't put last year on there is actually my head was not in the trade show. There was a personal issue with unfortunately I was dealing with on the home front with my kid in the hospital. So it was a little distracting last year. That being said, I thought the first day last year was pretty crowded though. Still,
It was busy. Like
Yeah.
the foot traffic on the floor. There was a lot of people. There was a lot going on. The booths were packed. Always, especially like the bigger ones. The more popular ones. Like
Yeah.
they were packed. Like we had a hard time navigating through those because they were packed. And I was like, I almost wasn't ready for it. And that was, I had done several shows, and I was like, wow. I'm like, this is nuts. But
Yeah.
then by like Sunday, day 2, it was a little better. But I think when it comes to a trade show, in general, the first day is usually kind of like chaos because it's like the first day, everyone's eager to get on the floor and go see who they want to see and get in there and blah, 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 do their shit. It's always nuts. And I think that makes sense. I think logically and whatever, fundamentally, that makes sense. And then day 2, it's like, all right, like I kind of, like let me just coast around now because like I kind of scrambled and did everything yesterday. Now I'm going to like take my time and kick tires. And it kind of like settles in and it's nice.
what I'll say, and 2000. You both weren't at New Orleans in 2015,
No.
and it was a bad show. It wasn't an awful. It wasn't. I thought 19 was worse because of the attendance. But what I will say, and I've been really positive on PCA with this, they have done an excellent job at really trying to make this a good experience for everybody. And I can't get on them for lack of effort, right? They've done I'm not saying everything's going to work, right? But what I am saying is they're trying, and I think they're going in the right direction with the ideas that they're bringing into the table on that. So, one change, and we talked about this on Thursday night. They actually shortened the seminar day from 12 to 5 to 1 to 4. No, 1 to 5. They shortened it by an hour, and I thought that was a good move actually.
Wait, what did they do?
Day 1 where they have the seminars and whatever you want.
Yeah. Oh, Friday.
Friday. It's starting at 1 o'clock, not 12 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a good move. It gives people a chance, maybe who are flying in the morning, to go to this. I like the lineup. The Julio Roa hand roll is going to be a big deal. So. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, me too.
The Next Generation seminar, I'm excited about. Then they have the meeting, and then the CA Guy Fieri thing. I'll be honest, it's not that I don't know what Dave Savone is going to bring to the table in a Guy Fieri interview that we haven't gotten already. Is my point. But nonetheless, you got to give him credit. They got to have Guy Fieri up there, and no one's going to leave for that. So.
I agree, but I don't understand what's so special about having Dave Savona there talking to Guy Fieri.
Well, Dave Savona is a very good panel moderator. I got to give him that. I've seen him do it. He knows what he's doing with that. Despite some of maybe the issues we have with CA, I can't take that part away from him. It's just I don't know. Like for me personally, I don't know what he's going to bring in an interview that honestly, Bear did a phenomenal interview with him at the trade show last year.
I think what I meant to say was like I don't know what does the PCA expect everyone to do they expect everyone's asshole to get tickled and excited because he is doing exclusive?
No, I don't think they. I don't think they do. Look, like I said, Dave's a very good moderator. It is Guy Fieri.
Which is good. I mean, and Guy, respectfully, has been probably one of the better celebrity representatives of the business.
Yeah, I mean, so I actually would like to see them do like a retail panel or a media panel there. That's what I'd like to see. I mean, we would never be part of a media panel. We'd go to print media, I'm sure, but I'd still like to see it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'd rather. I don't know. I don't know if that's. I guess I'm struggling to get excited about that.
Well, like I said, Guy Fieri. A lot of us have had exposure to Guy Fieri in one form or another, right?
Yeah.
Over the past few. That's what I'm just saying. To me, it's not going to be very interesting. Am I going to have to hear the story again about how Guy has changed the way celebrities do events, or that Guy loves cigars, or that Guy brings his cigars to? I mean, maybe Dave will get something different out of that, right? To me, it's not like last year when they had Padron up there, right? That was great. They pulled up that old movie with Jose Orlando Padron, and
Yeah.
even the panel they did last year with John Huber and Ernesto, that brought something a little different for me because you don't often see those two guys on a panel together, right?
Right.
And they've had a long relationship. So for me, that was more compelling than, again, is there something that Guy Fieri's going to bring to the table? My guess is no. If he does, then that's going to be worse. Like I said, we're going to see it. But that's kind of like my feeling on it. And nonetheless, how can you, if Guy Fieri's making himself available, how can you not do that? So it's a good move by PCA. It's just, for me, I don't know if it's going to excite me as much.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. For all of the same reasons. I mean,
I think it's gonna be. I do think it's gonna be a good show. I think it's gonna be a very good show. So I think like I said, I really think PCA's done a great job. It's hard to beat up the PCA anymore, Matt.
no, I agree. I think the PCA is great with how far they've come.
Yeah, I mean, if things fail, we're gonna talk about it. But again, I don't think it'll be because of lack of effort.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've done a great job turning the show around. Scott Pierce, I think, was great, and I was sad to see him go. But yeah, I know he's got to do what's best for him. But you know, I think I think they're in good hands, and I think that they're set up for some success. And I will say though, and I know Jay's here, and I think they're in great shape. I think they have potential. But this show has to rock. I think that needs to be said. I think great hands, great momentum, great changes. They've done good things. But this show has to rock. If it doesn't, people are not going to want to go back to New Orleans. And that's the thing. Because that's the mum that I hear around on the streets.
The big thing that could possibly backfire, but it looks like they've gotten this under control, is if people cannot smoke after hours.
Yep.
And I don't think this will be a problem. That's why I think they've really done a lot of legwork to do that. So that's the worst thing that I think could happen. And if the weather's bad, that's the risk they'll have with some of that. No, you're not getting the Circle Bar experience. But they are trying to look at, these venues. And Ben, who knows New Orleans, he said that the Manning's one's closer than the Cuban, I forget, the Cuban whatever place it's called. But he says they're both good places. So I think they did some homework.
Oh, walk-ons. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my heater down here. Don't mind me.
Just Matt, as Matt just.
It was cold, and then it was hot, and I was like, I gotta turn it down. Sorry. It's that weird time in New England.
Remote. That's the key thing.
I don't have a remote one. Well, hold on, time out. I do. So I have a space heater down here, and then I have the mini split. But the mini split remote, I don't know what it is. It doesn't reach from. Let's call it 11 feet from here. Maybe not even. Maybe like 9. So I have the space heater right here, and it's just easier because it's smaller.
Pat, you were at a PCA, right? You were at the 23, I want to say.
As an exhibitor.
You were Kurt, right?
I think Pat's frozen.
Pat looks frozen, yeah.
Oh. Pat's frozen. Well, we're going to boot him up for now so he can relog in. He was. I will tell you, he was. He was there. He was there.
Yeah, I thought I had met him. That's why at the booth.
There he is. Wow, this show tonight. Let me tell you. Wow, going off the rails.
Well, that was user error when I got disconnected.
I know.
That was user error on my part.
You're back. Yeah, you're good.
Talking?
But, Pat was. Coop was saying that you were at the 23 show.
I was with Kurt. Yeah.
Yep.
Was that your only show? Have you been to other shows before?
That's been it.
So that was a better show, is what I'll say. 23, I think 23 was a little better than 24. Jay and I will disagree a bit on that, but I thought that was a solid show. I was going to tell Pat. I don't know if you knew this story, but my first trade show was 2010, and we were talking about this story on Thursday night as well. And that was Kurt's first year at the trade show. And 724 was the hottest new booth that year. And so many people knew Kurt in the manufacturing community from, obviously doing business with him. They were all sending us to the 724 booth, right, to go check out his cigar. That was the first time a lot of us had seen it. And he was actually, I'm telling you, he was the buzz of that 2010 show, which happened to also be in New Orleans. It was just like we all discovered that brand that year. It was pretty cool. I'll always remember that show. That was definitely Kurt's show that year.
Yeah, he was telling me about how it was a big boom in the beginning, and then I think it was probably 24. When was a Hustler released? That was
12. 12.
Orlando.
Yes. It was Orlando, yeah. Because he had Hustler and Spider that year, and then he had the issues with Spider and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, Pat, is Spider still around or no right now?
No. So, I think they settled that he can sell it in the store, but he
can't distribute it.
Yeah, he didn't make any more of them. So I mean, he has some, I'm sure, but we don't. As of like a few years ago, I think we ran out inventory-wise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember I got some for Bear. This was before I met you, Matt, and I was up there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the Spider kind of dropped off, probably for that because they ran out with a couple years ago. Yeah.
Not the lawsuit, the dispute or whatever kind of hurt it. And Kurt didn't really want to fight it either. So I kind of understand that. It was a shame because the packaging was like beautiful on that. I mean, I think that humidor he had with the spider web on it, it was just really, really slick.
We still have like a bunch of those though. The empty humidors.
Yeah, they were nice.
Jay actually said he sold a lot of those. Yeah, I remember those.
Popular.
I remember those. Yeah, they were cool. And a lot of locals that I know too, are always in Twins, were like, "Oh yeah, the Spider!" Like that was a big deal.
I know, I remember Dave was saying this, and it's funny because Dave Garofalo and I was saying the same thing. He said, "Hey, I want to just get him and Scott Weeks in a room and mediate this," and I would have did the same thing because I like both those guys. I consider both those guys friends. So but whatever it was, but I would have loved to have seen if I could settle that because it should have been something that could have been easily settled.
Both are great guys and both make great cigars. So it is a shame.
Yeah, and I like Scott, and I'm actually probably a little closer with Scott because he's based in North Carolina. I've never questioned what Scott did. He's got his business reasons. I'm just saying I like both guys, and I just wish we could have worked it out. So yeah,
it's too bad. Coop, let's touch on this. I know you don't want to, but we got to do it.
Okay.
The misinformation. With Steve. So Steve, hold on. Let me get it in front of me so I accurately, because the last thing I need is someone to be like, "Oh, that's not what I said." So Steve goes on Facebook. Want to know something funny? I got tagged in a live with a certain media group yesterday. Was it you? I assumed it was you.
Oh, it was us. And now you called them out on that thing.
Wait,
it was us.
Can I make a request?
What?
Can you say it the way Soccer would say it? Read it the way Soccer would read it.
Well, you do it better than I do, so you should do it. Because you're the one that does the Soccer impression. Well,
It's our media group.
I got tagged on a live with a certain media group yesterday, and when I popped in, because the tag were saying no companies were showing my
because
PCA.
all the soccer heads were tagging him beforehand, yeah.
And then he lists everything he's bringing to the show. He's like, "Oh, by the way, this is what we're bringing," which typical Steve. Which first of all, I don't know who would assume Steve was bringing nothing, because if you pay attention long enough and you know how this goes, like Steve's bringing stuff to the show. I mean. Because if he wasn't, he would make it very clear, I'm not bringing anything to the show. I don't want anyone to be disappointed. Like, so for you to like think like, oh, Steve's not bringing anything. It's like, would you live under a rock? It's DTT. Of course he's gonna bring. He's bringing some flash. But I'll read the list. He's got a new size in the bronze back, Umbagog bronze back, which is gonna be Robusto. Mike Rita, Gorilla Gordo, Red Meat Lovers. Oh, Fratanga? Is that how you say that? Stillwell Star Holiday 25. New Liga and Vitola. The Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust 10th Jubilee, which is a new cigar. The DTT Essentials Sampler, which I'm going to assume that's like one of all of the core line stuff he has, probably. Which actually sounds really cool. I actually like that. The DTT Deep Cut Sampler with the Word of Saka. And the DTT Archive Release Number 2 TLD Double Wide. Plus Sober Mesa Salida Red, which is already out, but will be at the show. Year of the Duke, which I don't think has shipped yet, but I know he's talked about it. So it's a new cigar. No one has actually seen it or smoked it. Okay, yeah. So the DTT Overseas Number 1 for our international customers. Moester de Saka Unicorn Cabinet and the Saka Khan Statue. Oh, interesting. I don't know. Oh, hold on. I don't know. Sure does feel like a whole lot of fresh to me.
Yeah, no.
Hey,
No.
and the only thing missing from that post was the snicker at the end. He didn't put one in there.
I didn't have any problem with any of that, and I think but he this is a case where he basically came in the middle of a conversation and wasn't paying attention.
Right.
What the conversation was about. So what the conversation was about is basically we are 3 weeks out from the trade show, and if you go on the Cigar Coop big board, it's empty, pretty much, right? It's a lot of holes, right? And basically, all we said was stuff is trickling in late. And
it is, and that's a fact.
And there's a lot of reasons why it happens. It's not one reason. There's a lot of reasons why it happens. We were not saying it, so that's all we were saying. But he kind of took it like we were saying the companies, forget Saka, like companies weren't releasing a lot at this trade show. So that's kind of where that all went. So
I'm gonna pull up my website and see what we got so far. It's not a shit ton.
No, I mean, it's not.
Rocky has a study coming out.
Rocky's only doing 2 releases from what those guys told me. They're only doing the 30th and the Year of the Snake, and both are limited this year. The last thing Rocky needs is the new line. So I think that's a smart move.
Yeah.
H. Alvin Fernandez, I think, is going to be at the show. The Viso Horny. Foundation is going to have their event exclusive, which I don't even know if that's going to be a show thing.
I wouldn't count an event exclusive as something that a retailer can order at the show, though.
Yeah, because
they may show it. They may show it, yeah.
Yeah. Tatuaje has 2 new sizes of the Fausto, which I thought was interesting because, first of all, I love the Fausto and, Tatuaje because I'm a big fan of that. That brand, people who know me, because I think they're consistent. I think they do some great stuff. But the Fausto, one of the more iconic lines from Tatuaje, which was a product of the original from 2009, 2010. Coop, you've been around longer than me.
Yeah, around that time.
The T110, which was once a store exclusive that later became the Fausto blend. And so one of the sizes, and look, I'm not talking shit because I'm probably going to love it either way. But I'm noticing something and I just want to point out. The smaller one that Pete announced, he's calling like the T110 size because he's got 2 sizes. He's calling the FT110.
Calling it FT110. There's a difference.
But
it's confusing, yeah.
You're right, but the 110 is still in there. So I think it is a little confusing. So he's got the FT110, which is a 4 3/8 by 60. Which the T110s are not. I think they're 52.
Yeah.
So I was a little confused, but I was like, all right. But then he's got. So you go from that to the FT187, which is 7 3/8 by 60, which is that's a big cigar, especially in that blend. Like that's
all right.
That's gonna
So
be a powerhouse. But I'm like,
Yeah, but-
I'm down to smoke it, man. I'm excited.
Okay. Why is it one? Do you know why it's 110? And you
Is
know
that
why
the
it's
length of
187?
the cigar?
It's the length of the
length?
cigar in millimeters. So the Faustos have always been the length of the cigar. The length of that cigar is a 110. Yeah.
Okay.
So T110 was, what is it? Thermonuclear 110?
Yes.
Yeah, which is the
Yes.
4 and
Pat's
3/8
right.
length.
Yeah, Pat's right. Yep.
Yeah. And if you look at that 187, that's the 7 and 3/8, and that's 7 and 3/8 for the 180. So he's always named those cigars based on the amount of the millimeters on it.
Okay.
Isn't it like,
Yeah.
to me, your hardcore tat smokers would enjoy the original T110 size in the Fausto. And I don't know why he doesn't give it to him.
I think because it's basically the 110 is the answer.
I think so. Yeah.
But why he
That
doesn't
actually
wanna add
makes
that-
sense.
Yeah. And I don't know the exact answer on that, so I'm maybe assuming that.
I mean, either way, I'm gonna
But
buy it and I'm gonna smoke it.
I totally see where Pat's going
Jay.
with that, though. Yeah.
Jay, that's your cue because you're my Tatuaje supplier. So write it down. Make sure you go to that booth. Make sure you place some orders. Put me down. I'm gonna call you when the show's over.
Yep.
That's your cue, Jay. Also, all I'm going to say is, Jay, I heard some other things too, so make sure you really pay attention when you go to that booth because I'm going to be calling you about multiple products. So that's all I'm going to say publicly. Just write it down because I'm going to call you.
Yeah,
So
there's more. Pete's got more. He's got more.
He's got more up his sleeve. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Pete always has a busy booth with a lot of compelling products but I don't think this is the year either for Pete to introduce a new core line either. I think he's got some more Corojo. I think there's the Corojo 7s coming out as well.
Which I'm going to be honest with you, the Corojos from last year, oh man, those were good.
The 12 was good. I think he's had better ones. I think certainly. I mean, I love those blues. The Verico blues to me is.
Oh yeah.
You know what other?
Yeah.
I don't think you had one, and if you didn't, you want to try it, I'll give you one because I really don't care. But so for the SNS club, because I know you're not a part of SNS, he sent out the shorter ones in the Corojo. Oh man, that was good in the small size. Those were really good.
Is it box press? Is it box press?
No, it's round. It's Prejo.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Those were good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if he's coming out with the Honduran blend, but he did say this on our show, and he also confirmed this at the Great Smoke, is the first Honduran release he's going to do is a version of the P. I think it's going to be called the H, which is kind of, again, it's more of a Cuban sandwich one. He's going to start off with that going forward. And his reason, I think he doesn't want to step on the family who's got their big release coming out this year. And by the way, I think that's a smart move by Pete, and it is their factory. Don't try to let them have. If you come out with a Tatuaje the same year you're coming out with the My Father Blue, I think it's a mistake. Just let give each a time in the sun. And Pete's always been good about stuff like that. So I got to give him a lot of props. He'll have his time and he'll be doing his Honduran blends, and I'm sure they'll be very good. So.
Yeah, Jay mentioned the 50 in the
Whenever
comments.
that comes, I think it'll be 60 when that comes out. I gotta ask him about that when we have him on the show. By the way, have you guys smoked the RL22, the 10th anniversaries? He did the EL22, and then he did the RL22, the Reserva.
Is that the Lonsdale?
Yeah. Holy.
Yeah, I love that cigar.
Holy cow! And they age so good.
Wait, which one?
The Lonsdale, the RL22. It was for the 10th anniversary. It was one of those.
Oh, that one. Yeah, I had that one before.
That was a top 10 cigar for me this year.
We still have boxes at Twins. I'm shocked.
Really?
Talking to you, yeah.
You do?
Yeah,
if
we
Jay's
do.
got them. If Jay doesn't have them, I always go to Jay. But yeah.
We you got to talk about that later.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
Wow.
interesting.
Yeah, I have a box when I'm aging, and then I smoked a single like 2 weeks ago, and I'm like, holy shit. I was tempted to open my box up, but yeah, I think we have like 3 or 4 more sealed boxes.
Wow. What's the price on that?
They're not cheap.
18 maybe?
Yeah, they're not cheap, but they're worth it.
Yeah.
They're legitimately worth the price.
Yeah, isn't it the I could be wrong on this. I looked at it quickly a while ago, but isn't it the it's a Cahonu's, right? The same blend as a Cahonu? A similar blend?
I think it's in the all
It's
Pete
based
stuff
off
is
of it.
kind of all Pete stuff's kind of like I guess incestuous. It's like all in the family. So probably
Incestuous. Is
I
that
don't
the
have a
word
better
you
way to
just
put it.
used?
I don't have a better
I
way.
like that. It's
What the
incestuous.
I didn't mean that in a positive. I didn't mean that in a negative way.
No, I know, but I think even
Right,
he
right.
would too. But that's just funny. But no, I mean,
Yeah.
he don't. I mean, he does what he does. He's good at it.
Everything comes from Brown Label. Like the whole family root of the Patois brand comes from Brown Label.
I mean, Brown Label's good though. So I mean,
I think the only things that are different, like the Verités are different, and I think the La Unions are different. There's a few, but most of them come from Brown Label. Oh,
the Cahonu 2012 Reserva is probably my favorite cigar he makes.
I like the Habano too, but that is a great Reserva. Well, Pete is
All day.
We all talk about Nick and Steve with broadleaf, but Pete's right up there. I mean, when it comes to broadleaf, it's absolutely he's in that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, broadleaf is some of my favorite tobacco. Period. And
Yeah.
there's a few guys, and Nick's on that list too. But there's a handful.
Oh my god, the Pegnateros this year. The Pegnatero and are smoking incredible right now. And I wasn't saying that when they first came out. That's a Charter Oak, that
Right.
more premium one he did.
Yeah,
Nick's
Nick.
having a big year on Coop this year. Nick's got some high scores on Coop this year. I'll tell you that. Night Commander, the 24 edition.
Oh,
Maybe the
You've
best
been
cigar
big
ever.
on that. You've been really big on that.
When I say Nick is in the running for a top spot right now, that's how big. That's how good that cigar is.
my favorite foundation was the Collector's Corona Tabernacle that he did, and then the Night Commander came out, and that quickly. It's close, but the Night Commander is definitely a tad better. But that Collector's Corona, I wish he would bring that back again.
That was and I thought the first Night Commander was solid. It was good, but the second one, and I asked. It was funny. I had a conversation with Nick, and I had a conversation with one of the guys working at the Great Smoke, Nate, and I just kind of pinged him. I said, "Which Night Commander do you like better?" And both of them said at the 24. I said, I'm telling you, the 24 was that much better.
I think Pete's gonna have a good show.
Oh yeah. Pete Johnson has never had a miss at a trade show. Never. I mean, he never misses.
He knows. You know why? Because like him and like Saka and like a few others that they just.
Pete cares. He
Oh
really
wow!
cares
Look
about this
at
trade show.
look at this, Jay. Wow! Look at Jay. Pork tenderloins. These will start shipping at the end of March 2025.
I told you that. I told you
I
that.
know, but he's got the whole list of every release. End of March 2025. They will have a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper. 5,000 bundles made. Yeah, Jay. 2 bundles. Put me down. Fausto T110. I'll take a box. Let's see what else. The Corojo wrapper package on T110. Put me down.
Karlov's coming back.
Karloff, we might throw one of those in there too. You know, Jay, honestly, we need to talk because you need to make sure you order enough because I'm gonna be taking some boxes there.
And he got a PCA exclusive. He's got a PCA exclusive coming out.
Doesn't he always have a PCA exclusive?
He didn't do one last year.
He didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. As much as I'm not going to talk about TAA, the one thing I will say is that Pete always does it broadly for TAA, and he does Sumatra for PCA. I do prefer his broadleaf blends, but
I do. I do
hate the
too.
TAA.
But I will smoke the Sumatra.
Yeah.
So I think there's also a T110 coming out with the Corojo as well as an Avion.
Yes, there is.
Yeah. So
This is kind of long. I'm gonna try to put it on the screen, but it's really long.
well, yeah. I mean that maybe.
Yeah,
Well,
it won't. It won't even show it.
I will. Well, you know, out of respect to Pete, I kind of when he wants to tell it, I'll tell it. But yeah, but they have been telling people stuff.
It's all already been ordered. Oh, he already ordered it. Well,
Of course he did. Of course he did.
write it down. You know
Like
where
I
to
said,
find me.
if you are ever in Dallas, I happen to actually be in Dallas when Jay did a Tatuaje event, and Jay pulled all the stops out for this event. He had stuff squirreled away,
It's because Jay's a good retailer.
and he had for a rainy day kind of, and not that it was a bad day, and it was a great event that day. Dan Welch did the event. Great guy, but Dan's an awesome guy. That was a great event. And I don't use the word great event, retail event lightly. I don't throw that one around lightly because it was good conversation. There was a lot of product there. There were deals on top of that, and so yeah, it was all good. I happened to luck out that I was in Dallas for that, and that doesn't happen every day with Jay, with Tatuaje. I happened to be there, so.
Yeah, Jay's a good retailer. That's why he's prepared. He plans ahead. Kurt's the same way. Kurt has a lot of stuff tucked away, and then sometimes during certain events he brings some of that out. That's a smart move.
I was actually debating coming up with a scoring system for events. The problem is if the scores come out bad, I'll just absolutely be blacklisted from stores. But I actually was coming up with a scoring system, how to score an event.
Oh, that's interesting. I like that actually.
Now, if you want to do it, go ahead. Okay. But internally, I kind of score events. Is what I do, and from 1 to 10. So.
Well, I'll tell you what gets a 0 from me is when there's an event that doesn't get advertised and then no one shows up. It's like, well, that's on you. A 1 to a 2 is when they show up and they just do basic tablecloth and they put the boxes out and like there's no incentive or anything like that. It's just like, well, I'm here, so buy them.
Right.
And it's like, all right, well then what's so special about the event? A good event is not just having your stuff there, maybe having some special exclusives that are like, oh shit, and then on top of that, maybe there's some other element to it, like maybe there's something a little bit more interactive for the kids. Like if you're gonna do an event in a store, like principals should be there,
right?
Products should be displayed. Maybe have some event exclusive. Maybe the retailer thinks ahead, like Jay. Hey, let me make sure I save some stuff because I know that I'm going to do at least one event with this brand this year, and when that event happens, I'm going to bring these out for the event. I could sell them today, and I could just sell them and make money, or I could wait and I could use it to draw more people into an event, which might actually yield me a higher revenue because I have a bigger package I put it together with. That's a smart move.
Yeah, the guy who gets probably the closest to 10s, and I'm not going to count like Great Smokes or anything. I'm talking about store events. Is Craig Cass. Craig Cass is the best I've ever seen. He makes it experiential. There's always a discussion for everyone to hear the manufacturer talk. It's experiential. And every one of Craig's events you pay to get in, and he gets 300 people. You know why? Because you get more. The ticket's like $15, and you get like twice as much value out of it every time. And he sells a ton of cigars. So he is definitely, I would put him, like he probably is the best I've ever seen do an event. He's that good. Jay certainly got a high score with that Tatuaje event. I'll tell you that though. He did a very good job with that event. And it was a lot of those same components. Dan was certainly interacting and stuff. It was good. So
that one right there.
Yeah, that's the one in Saints and Sinners.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a nice size. What is that? Like a 4? Is that?
It's roughly around like the T110 size.
I wonder if that is the Carl. I wonder if that's the one he's releasing. That's why I was wondering.
Yeah, these went out in the SNS kit for 2024. Closed foot. Fucking great smoke.
How exciting though is my father going into Honda? I think this is so big, right? that I think it's one of the big stories of the trade show this year. And even if they may strike out the first time, okay? But you got to give them a little time too. I mean, is what I'm saying. They may strike out the first time with it, but I think this is so big. That's the big story on the floor. Even though maybe the release is not the big release story, but the fact that, and they're going to be doing so much in Honduras. That factory is a big factory they got. So.
Which factory?
The My Father Honduras factory.
Oh yeah, that's a big deal.
And look, when Fuente opens the Nicaragua one, that's going to be the big story too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
but yeah, the My Father one is for this year. My Father, that's a big factory opening. That's going to be very exciting.
And they're probably going to do a lot of contract plans out of that too. I bet you'll see Crown Head cigars come out of there. I would love to see Ashton do something out of there. So I mean, I assume the big partners they have will probably, because they have a lot of space to make cigars. What about Les Man?
He's here. He's just tuned in.
Well, I love my lighter.
So I gave him my ping, just for Les.
Yeah, I learned how to change the flint light to Les. You can thank Craig. Craig will probably. We had a little joke about that because I had not changed the flint before, and I just did it to learn how to change the flint. So.
Yeah, actually, which is funny because we were talking about that, and it's funny because
part of the review. I want to review how easy it was to change them. It is easy.
It is. Yeah. It's.
Yeah.
There's a tab right here. Right. So there's a tab. I'll show you.
Yeah. Coop has to learn how to read instructions a little better.
So you pull that down, and the top kicks back.
Yep.
And then just inside.
Yep.
I don't know if the camera's gonna focus.
Yeah.
Yep, right there. There's the flint, right there in the tray. See that?
Yep.
And that's the roller. And then, the only thing that's a little tricky if you don't know how to do it, you do have to hold the pin down.
He showed me how to do that. It's easy.
And then
Once
you pull it
it's like
forward.
riding a bike. Yeah.
And then there it is.
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, I didn't need to change the flint. I want, like, as part of my review on the assessment of lighter, I look at all components of that. So, but I'll tell you what. You go into Craig Cass's store in South Park Mall. He's in the basement of the South Park Mall.
Yep.
And you walk in there, and the Dupont stuff is right when you walk in. It's so well displayed. It does a great justice for the brand. I mean, I really think it's nice cases, and they're laid out good. And like I said, Craig is one of the best in the business for a reason. Yeah. So, and what's cool, you know what was cool about that store? So, and I know I'm digressing. So, when I moved to Charlotte, my daughter was like 16 years old, okay? And she didn't have her license yet. So she used to like to go to the mall with her friends. So my wife was driving to the mall, and my wife said to me, hey, there's a cigar store in the parking, like in the basement of the parking garage. I'm like, really? So I went and checked it out. And every time after that, I was driving my daughter to the mall and waiting for her. I said, stay as long as you want. And I was going and smoking there. Then when she got her driver's license, and it's about an hour from my house. It wasn't close, unfortunately. Now I don't get there as much, but I had a good reason to go there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anytime there's a.
You're gonna learn this when your daughter gets 16. You'll be driving her to the mall.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Like
Luckily, I got 14 or 15 years to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. She's gonna.
Then you're walking down the aisle one day. It will hit you before you know it.
I'm gonna be the guy who, like, when the boyfriend comes over the first time, I'm just gonna be sitting in the living room cleaning the guns, being like, "Oh, hey, how's it going? Are you gonna take her out? Yeah, she'll be home by like 9:45, right? Yeah."
So my son-in-law Alex, great guy, by the way. I love him like my fourth son. I knew what he was going to be doing. I remember it was Thanksgiving, and we were having dinner, and he goes, hey, I need to tomorrow come over to the house and talk to you. And I knew exactly. I said, fine, come over. So
you're like, oh, God, I've been waiting for this.
So he's a good kid, right? And I wasn't going to. So he's doing all the right things, but I said I'm going to mess with him a bit. So the studio here, I have a heating system in here.
Yeah.
So I went and I turned the heat up
Oh,
to like
yeah.
into the 80s.
Yeah.
He walks in, and what is he holding in his hand?
Oh, I know the answer. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what it is?
I know what it is. It's the box of Angel
Yeah,
Share.
box of angel shit.
Yeah.
And 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 boy, I said, you're doing all the right things. He goes, man, is it hot in here?
I love this story.
Right.
Wait, you know why I
I'm
love this?
sweating too.
Do you know why I
Yeah.
love this story? Because
Right.
I would do it for my daughter, but I didn't have to go through it. When I asked Nicole's dad, he was like, I mean, yeah, man, it's all good. And I was like, all right, that was done.
And then I got again. This kid is he's a good kid. The day of the wedding, he gives me a box of my father 5-year anniversaries.
Dude, let me
And
tell you,
and then that was something that meant a lot.
this kid did his homework. You like, you got to be like, you know what, dude, it's all you, man.
She trained him well. She trained him well.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is. He's a great kid, though. I mean, I've never had to worry about him. Taking care of my daughter. So, but yeah, and he loves the numero unos. I bring them over for Thanksgiving.
So he regularly smokes too. He's not just buying them to kiss your ass. Like, he likes
No,
them.
he doesn't. He doesn't smoke that much, but he smokes a little. And then for the wedding, I had Zengi gave me some Debonair Maduros, like a special size with a custom band. They were great, but they were just too damn strong for people, right? So I knew this. I said, so what I used those for is I used those for my friends who couldn't get an invite to the wedding. Because one thing I told my daughter is, this is your wedding. You invite the people. You don't have to invite my friends. So I gave those out, and then I bought other cigars for the wedding because they were just too strong for people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got some like Romeo Julietas and stuff like that. Hoya de Monterey's, yeah.
I have some stuff from when Anastasia was born that were given to me as gifts.
I still have a couple of the Anastasia cigars, and I figured one day we'll smoke those specials. But I figured,
Yeah. I won't get into them, but I have a couple different boxes and different varieties.
Sure. Yeah, and I get it.
That people gave me, and Nicole and I really save them for like her birthday and stuff. We really don't give them out or even really smoke them.
Yeah, if Timmy ever gets married, and there's no sign of that, it will be Casada for sure. Because he knew Manuel. He used to drive Manuel Casada to the airport and stuff. So I don't think there'll be any doubt it would be a Casada cigar. That I'll have that for him.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying I'm gonna have I may ask them like if you can give me something, but I'll buy something for that. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's cigars in general are special. They're not always for a special occasion, but they also are for a special occasion, and it's cool when you have that.
Yep. Yeah, I got some pretty good reviews coming up of some exclusive, not exclusive, but luxury cigars coming up. So stay tuned on that. You saw I put one out this past week, which was the Monte one, the Monte Double Diamante, which is lights out great. One of the best Monte Cristos I had. So.
So you reviewed it.
Yeah, it got the highest score of the year, 92. I don't know if it's gonna make the Coop list because I have to procure that again, and I don't know if the budget's gonna allow me to procure it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a cheapie.
Yeah, and what I tell people is if you have to like what Altadis does with Monte Cristo to like that cigar. If you don't get it.
Right.
But if you like it, splurge on it and get it because it's good.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, Monte Cristo is a great brand. Just about, I'm trying to think. Just about every Monte Cristo I've ever had, excluding Cubans, like Altadis.
Right.
I'm really thinking. I don't think I've had one where I was really disappointed. I mean, Monte Cristo for me is usually like.
Yeah.
I mean, well, hold on. Let me take that back. Like the Platinum series.
I like those. I like those.
They're not bad. They're not bad, but I would say they're probably like my least favorite. But just about anything else, I mean, it's always a safe bet.
Monty New York got number 2 for me back in 2012. And the cigar that beat it was an epic cigar for the ages. It was the first Goldie. So that Goldie Ligido number 2. That was the one that beat it. But that Monty New York was. I just don't think it's one of the best cigars Altis has done. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I like the 1935.
yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I love both the Nicaragua and the Diamante, and I'm getting more to the Diamante right now. It seems like these days. You know the one that got the 95 this year, and it was the number 2. That's 60. And you know I'm a 60 guy. That's the best size. I'll tell you, it's the best size.
Oh, the Espasos.
I love that.
Yeah.
It doesn't smoke like a 60. That's why it smokes like a 56.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, out of everything they make, I'd say Monte Cristo is probably my favorite brand. I like a lot of the other stuff, but Monte Cristo for me, like any time I've ever just been like, oh, I'm gonna grab one of these just because I'm in the mood, it's been like perfect. I mean, the 1935, the Epic, the Espada, the El Grupos, all of them.
Yeah,
all of them. They're just like fantastic.
They did a really good job with the Romeo 150 though. I got one as a pro, so they did a really nice job with that.
Oh, okay, nice.
It's a more premium Romeo, is what I'll tell people, but it is good.
The one cigar that they make that I think doesn't get enough credit is it came out, I think it was 22, the AJ Heritage A. Chapman.
That's a monster for them.
Blue band. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's strong. I think that's probably why people.
I like the dark blue one better than the light blue one. Bear loves the light blue one.
The light blue, yeah. The Corona. Oh.
Yeah.
Insane.
It's a good job.
What's the other one I really liked? And I feel like a lot of people were like, meh, but I really liked it. The Barber Pole they did 2 years ago.
The Romeo one or the H. Upman?
The H. Upman.
I had the H. Upmans
when they had the barber like in the booth.
So Jay and I had those at Pro Cigar last year, and I'm telling you, they were smoking great. I mean, we were talking about those. We had some of them at the factory, and they were really good.
And I like how they did that, like at TP and PCA, they had like a separate not like a separate booth, like a separate section off the main booth, and it had like a barber there, like actually cutting hair. And then if you went up to the barber, he would give you one. And I was like, "This is cool." And the cigar was good too.
So they did that at the Great Smoke too. I don't remember what they had what the activation was because I actually didn't get to it.
Yeah.
But I was at Raphael's booth, but they had a separate H. Upman activation there.
Yeah. It was like it was the same thing, and that was really cool because I liked the whole like setup of that and the like. But the cigar, but it wasn't like the cigar was bullshit either. Like the cigar, I was like, wow, the cigar's really good.
Yeah, the original Romeo Julieta Twisteds were good. The Midnight Twist wasn't quite as my taking as much, but the original ones they did were good.
And then wasn't the Romeo Love Affair, or was it Love Affair, the Love Story, the one they did that everyone was like, oh, this is like the Fuente one. Wasn't that a Barber Pole? Well, not to get into that whole thing, because I know it's.
No, but they had. It was just. It was based on a size they had, though.
But that was. But my point though is that was a Barber Pole too, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember those. Those were good too.
Yep, they were good.
You know what's good that I smoked last week is the Room 101 15th.
I had it, Pat, down at Great Smoke. I agree. I was telling Matt that I think on the phone. Yes,
and it was
really
weird.
Good.
So. It reminded me, and I hate comparing a cigar to a different cigar because that's I don't think it's
me
cool
too.
to explain it, but it's AJ, and it smokes just like an Olmec. Like when I smoked, I'm like I'm smoking an Olmec right now.
Like a Claro, yeah. It was like a Claro Omac to me.
Does Twins have
I-
them?
They do. Yep.
Oh, all right. I'm gonna need you to grab some for me.
I thought it was
I
really good. I
actually
agree with Pat. I think the 15, it's probably my second favorite behind the 14 was my favorite. But this
Yeah.
is very good too, yeah.
I told the Sean, the GM at Twins, I'm like, double the order. Like once people start smoking this thing, like I didn't like sit down and really think about it to like give it a score, but it's very good. I think it would score well if I sat down with it.
Yep.
Well, it's gonna be in the queue for the year, so yeah, you better start thinking about it. But yeah,
Very
no,
good.
that's I haven't had it yet myself, but yeah, I wanna grab those.
Yeah.
And I like seeing that too, because like we talked about this months ago about who had a quiet year, and last year Room 101 was quiet.
Very
I like
quiet.
seeing that 15th was
Worth
very
the
good.
wait.
It's a good start. Oh yeah.
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 Yeah. Ford's is going to be at the trade show, not General this year, so Room 101 will be there. But Ford's is another company. They announce a couple of cigars before the trade show, but they tend to unveil a lot of stuff at the booth. So Matt has not tipped his hat what he's got.
And you usually don't.
He usually won't.
Yeah.
I think everyone's waiting for Chief Cool Arrow, so whether that comes out, I don't know.
You know, one minute he's like, yeah, and then he's like, nah. So like, I don't know.
But I wouldn't do it. They need to work on Johnny Tobacco up more. Not that it's a great cigar, but I think it's getting lost with all the releases they have.
Yeah,
in the Ford's
and it's
portfolio.
fantastic too.
It
It's
is.
perhaps one of my favorite cigar, my most favorite cigar he has.
Yeah, it's a very.
It's just
very
something
good.
about it. It's great.
Yeah, it was better than the original.
Yeah.
You know what I wanted to talk about? Now that we talk about Forge. I don't know if you have a news segment planned tonight, Matt.
No, because we don't do news on this show. Because the whole show is pretty much news in a way. But so go ahead.
So, Alec Bradley, they discontinued like 15 SKUs. Around
Yeah, it was
15?
a lot. It was
Yeah,
a lot.
that is a lot.
What? Yeah, I was shocked, and I'm trying to pull up the list now, but I was shocked to see what they're discontinuing.
Well, yeah,
Trying to find it.
I have the list on Coop here, and I'll pull it up because I think this is a good discussion point to have. And there was some one of my favorite Alec Bradley lines was actually two of my favorite Alec Bradley lines were discontinued. The first one was the Coil, which
Yeah.
to me is
I was shocked at that one too.
well, and I'll talk about that one. And the other one was the Blind Face, which was the first Alec and Bradley cigar.
Yes, the blind face shocked me as well.
Those lines, though, this is like it's easy to blame STG, blah blah. No, those lines weren't moving well when the Rubens owned it. So I'm not surprised at all on that one. They had the Tempest Nicaragua was discontinued as well, and then there was some sizes discontinued in the Black
Prensado.
in the Prensado, the Lost Art. Yeah. The Prensado Lost Art, yeah. The double broadleaf Grand Corona, which was a size I liked, was discontinued.
And it's just funny because it's like my observations of it is, I mean, now that Alec Bradley is part of a heavily invested in group, you can see that they're trimming the fat. So whether or not, I mean, profit-wise, probably more beneficial for them not to waste the resources, but definitely.
Yeah, like I said, some of these lines were not doing great beforehand. Yeah.
Yeah, but it sucks for those people that, like, that was someone's cigar that they smoked all the time, and it's gone. Like, I'm sure there's a handful of people that are, like, really upset about that.
Yeah.
I could think of a few myself that I know who really love
Even like some
those.
of the rare Corojos. Actually, no, that's a separate. No, so
there was some sizes of the
General
rare
discontinued. Yeah, so going to Punch too. So I guess I just mashed both together. But yeah, even like on the General side of things, they discontinued a lot of SKUs.
Yeah, there was Cohiba Makassar took a hit. The Hoya de Tricion took a hit. Polone Añejo took a hit.
Yep.
So yeah. But yeah, there were a couple of the crystal size of the Rare Corojo, which one I always liked, the crystal tubes. Was
Yeah.
discontinued. I actually love that size.
We have a customer at Twins that buys them by the box. We order them only for him, and I saw that, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, I know. Tube cigars are always tough though to move those.
They are.
Yeah, Matt and I were talking about tubos with
Wednesday, yeah.
Tim Oslinger on that was with Tim, I think, right?
No, it was with Oliver
Thursday?
because United's gonna have a
Was
couple
it
of fresh
Oliver?
packs. Yeah.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right. That was Wednesday.
So United's gonna have the fresh pack, but Selected Tobacco's not. I think that's from what Oliver told me.
Yes. Yes, correct.
I didn't.
Which,
I
by the way,
didn't
happy
know.
birthday to Oliver. It's his birthday.
Happy
He's
birthday.
52.
Ah,
Yeah. Looks good for 52. Gotta give it to him.
No, he's done a great job. With that line, and it's great that Selected Tobacco's back at the show this year.
Yes. That will be exciting to see them.
yeah, I don't see Selected Tobacco to be a brand that would do a fresh pack.
No, I don't either. He'll do like those. He had those humidified tubes, Nelson.
Yeah.
Which are
Honestly,
great.
I think Bandolero would do well in a fresh pack, though.
That would be one. I agree. I agree with you on that. And you could do some different sizes. You could do some different lines with that. I think it would do well. And Bandolero is a line that you can easily. It's priced such that you could put it into a fresh pack.
Yeah, I think that would be good in a fresh pack.
The problem is if you have a $40 cigar. If you have a $40 cigar, you can't do a $200 fresh pack. That's the problem. Yeah. But you can do it with Bandolero, which is kind of in the $15 range, I want to say.
Sorry, I'm looking at the time and I'm looking at our list, and there's a couple things I want to get to before we wrap up.
Ashtray.
Yeah, and some of the stuff we might save for next week too, which is fine. Because at the rate things are going with PCA, we probably will need it. So, yeah, the ashtray thing I was going to bring up because I thought that was so ridiculous. Because from time to time we see these gimmicky things hit the market, and we saw El Septimo say that they have a patent for an ashtray that cools your cigar down. Because
But why do I need to cool my cigar down? Is my question.
Yeah.
So I have no. Look. I will never say innovation is a bad thing, and I give him credit for that.
Mhm.
The only thing I had a problem with that press release is he's not the first guy to get patent in the cigar industry. But
yeah, I know.
But I
We
don't
know that
what-
that was bullshit. Yeah, that's to the
why-
list.
But why do I want a cooling ashtray? That's not what he was talking about. Yes, I get the temperature thing, but we've been smoking cigars for hundreds of years, and they get up to a certain temperature and it works well.
Hey, let me
So
just
why do
say let me just say this. If you need to create an ashtray that's so special that makes your cigars taste better, maybe you should not be in the tobacco business.
Well, does it taste
Just-
better? I've never done this, so that's
I agree. But my point is if you can't make a cigar that out of the box is just perfect enough, you have to make an accessory that makes it better. Maybe you're not in the right business.
And it's difficult too because, this is just like practical cigar smoking use here. When you're smoking a cigar, you go to a lounge. I mean, people rest a cigar on the ashtray, but how often and how long is a cigar sitting in an ashtray? Right?
Yeah,
like,
if you sit too
I feel
long,
like
you don't want to
it's
smoke it.
not. Yeah, you have to take a draw, like, on conservative side, like every minute and a half, 2 minutes maybe. I guess if you're out in the sunlight and the sunlight's hitting the ashtray and the ashtray is hot, the time that the cigar is sitting in the ashtray, I don't have the science to back it up, but I don't see that being such a huge difference to where it would be justified to buy an ashtray that I would assume is going to probably be priced near $1,000, $800.
It's a gimmick.
Yeah. I just
Which,
don't
by the
see
way, according to his daughter, poor people. Most consumers are poor people, so it won't be for them. She made that very clear on social
Well,
media.
and that's, I mean, I'm the asshole that buys like the Opus Crystal ashtray that's like $600, and it's just an ashtray. It doesn't have any gimmick to it, like, so it's not poor people. It's just
Oh, I know.
like you
Don't
have
tell
this
me.
quote.
Tell her. That's what she said. Oh, poor people. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just people aren't asking for that kind of stuff, and like and again, creativity and innovation. Like I'm all for it. Like I have nothing against that.
Yeah,
But
I have nothing against it. Now, I didn't cover it because there wasn't the release ain't out yet, so I'm not in the business of.
I think it's a gimmick.
Well, there's a lot of gimmicks out. We've seen, I mean, there's tons of.
I didn't say that there wasn't, but I still think that this whole thing is another bullshit thing. I mean, remember, guys, remember, this is the guy who told people publicly that he ages his cigars outdoors in the elements. And he also is the one who said his ash from his cigars doesn't smell because he uses no pesticides on the tobacco. And then he was like, smell the ashtray. I'm like, yeah, that ash smells. So you're full of shit. He's full of shit. He is.
and
You know,
the thing with me is I don't like shame companies. I don't bash anyone. But it's just like when you publicly
Make a fool of
call
yourself.
people out for like you have to because it's not made for you. You're poor. Like for instance, Davidoff to me is one of the brands where it's like it has that prestige of being like the wealthy person cigar. And they're not like that. They don't
Nope.
shame people because they don't buy those cigars because they're expensive.
Yep, I agree.
Just, that's not what this industry is.
so let me. So yeah, here's and I agree. Pat, I agree with your point. I'm not trying to shame the guy, but when I read, I was reading this before the show, and it really didn't tell me why I want to do this, other than it kind of postulated why I wanted to do this. Right? It didn't tell me like a tangible result that it's going to taste better. And I was thinking, do I take my Oro Blanco cigar? Am I going to just put it in this refrigerated ashtray? Hell no, I'm not going to do that. Right? Hell no, I'm not going to do that. It's not designed. You don't need to do that with it. I wouldn't take it, especially with a cigar that expensive.
Take that ashtray
And
take a shit in it. That's what it's for.
So
I mean,
Come on, it's bullshit. I mean, a cooling ashtray because your cigar's gonna make it taste better with the. Like, come on, dude, it's a fucking ashtray. Like, are we really doing this? It's a fucking ashtray. Like,
Well,
smoke the
prove it out
damn
to me.
cigar. Like, come on.
I'm willing to say prove it out to me before I kind of knock it. But it just didn't sell me, is what I'm saying. It didn't really sell me.
Because it makes
and I
no
agree with that,
sense.
but one thing that I'll mention just on this topic is, and this is something that when I read it, again, as like, all three of us are very well versed in tobacco.
Yep.
Right. So when you listen to this pitch, so El Septimo announced their Doble Gran Reserva, which is another over $100 price point cigar, right? And in the press release, this is the kind of the. Let me find it here. This is the editorial that he released with this cigar. With the Doble Gran Reserva, we have harnessed the collective wisdom of global experts, infused it with groundbreaking scientific techniques and fermentation process to create an experience that transcends tradition.
Oh yeah,
Like,
man, you really
that
cracked the
sounds
code.
great. And the thing is, maybe they did something awesome, maybe they did something unique, but reading that's not telling me what it is.
You have to give a little bit of your trade secret out.
You have
is
to.
what I'm doing.
Yeah, and
You
it's
have
like,
to.
for
You
instance,
can't
like,
not. You can't not do that. Yeah.
yeah, you have to
I'll
say something. It's just like the ignorant consumer. Like, I'll take one example. Like, one of the unique things I found, and I don't know if other companies do this now, but like Drew Estate with the Liga Privada wrappers grown in Connecticut, they do like this soybean plaster base around the tobacco seed.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's unique, and that's one of the selling points for the wrapper. But it's something it's like, oh, we have like scientific expertise in like a seed. Like, okay, cool. But you have to give something to the consumer that you're not just doing this blind state. It sounds good, but what does that mean? Like, why is this much money?
Right.
Like, they've been making cigars for a long time. So what have you done that is so different than what everyone else is doing?
Right. When T52 came out, that was a stalk cut Habano, which you don't see stalk cut Habano that often. They use stalk cut broadleaf is how it's used, but they used it on a Habano. That was something a little different, at least that they explain it. But to say we have a proprietary secret sauce, well, I don't know, whatever secret technique, it's not doing enough for me. And again, I'm not trying to pick on El Septimo, but I'll say a positive thing is that culinary release they came out with last year was the best cigar they've come out with by far. And it was the least expensive one. I think it was the best. It was better than any of their expensive stuff. It was a good cigar. And I thought maybe
Yeah,
they
and
were
I'm
going to
not.
start to expand on that this year. They didn't. Maybe they will, but I would have liked to see them expand a couple more blends with that.
I don't think their cigars are horrible, but I also don't think that they're worth
Culinary
what they're
surprised
asking
me.
for.
Culinary surprised me. Really surprised
And
me,
like,
that cigar.
and I'm not trying to shame them. I'm really not. It's just
No.
You got to be honest, though.
if you're going to convey something like this cigar is not for a poor person, you have to back it up. And for one, that's not a good marketing technique. Period. It's not a good marketing technique, but it's you have to back it up. And I haven't seen it.
Yeah. You know, they just announced the JRE, the Julio Aurora 85th cigar.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a
And
cool.
they're
That's
using
gonna be a good
they're
one.
using that Pinorino tobacco as a puro. The Pinorino tobacco, I had it in the asylum. It was great. It's a great, but it was a smaller amount in that. But at least there's something again there's an innovation coming out of the farm that okay, it's got my attention with it. Yeah, I did the Cameroon Puro last year. I don't ever remember Cameroon Puro coming out. So I mean, there's things that they're doing. You got, and I'm sure Justo's not tipping every secret, but he gave you enough where okay, this is something I want to check out.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
$125 cigar. They were a big topic on the show on Thursday night because they were my now or never pick. Meaning, I think they have to have a big trade show this year. Or, I think they really do.
Yeah, yeah. For the
Even
company
like
that said that they were gonna bury all the high end luxury brands.
another comparison too is like even like what Alfonso's doing. I mean,
Yes,
his cigars made in Costa Rica, and his sales pitch is like, why is it this much money? The natural humidity in Costa Rica, and the fact that he raises and lowers the humidity and temperature in the aging rooms. Like, I think it's like every 3 days. It might be the numbers I don't have exactly.
Yeah, and it's an extreme swing
so
too. It's like
often.
really low then really
Yeah.
high. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a 30 degree and humidity difference. So it's like the cigars are like essentially breathing.
eh,
Exactly.
and
The new Alfonso's came out. It's French oak. So it's
French
different
oak.
types of wood. He's selling it to you like this is why this is a unique.
Exactly.
Product. This is different.
Exactly.
No one's doing this.
Exactly.
And then people buy it. You
Yeah.
have to say something. You
That's
can't
why they
just say
that's why they got
it's-
Cigar of the Year a few years ago.
You have to say something. You don't have to say all your secrets, but you have to tell the consumer something more than a blanket statement that sounds good.
Yeah, you have to. Like I said, I'm not asking anyone. You don't have to give your trade secret, but you got to say what is different about that. You have to give them a little insight into, and that's always been, I think, my criticism of El Septimo is they just say we have the best cigars in the world, and they don't do anything to kind of tell the tobacco story, and that's always been my beef with them.
Yeah. It's because their strategy is,
I gotta admit,
we're
I will-
prestigious, so
If I
just
can
buy
afford
it.
that ashtray, I'll try it. If they ever come out with it, I'll try it. I'll give it a shot. If it's $1,000, I'm not gonna try it though. But I'm just saying, if it's, I would give it a shot to see if it worked. But I don't know. Again, if it's $1,000, no. It's my cigars smoke fine in my Romeo and Julieta melamine ashtray. So
I mean, I guess like the thing about the ashtray I don't get, this is the last thing I'll say about it, is when you're smoking outside in the heat, the thing that's going to change your cigar and make it bitter is the humidity outside.
bingo.
An ashtray is not going to change anything.
That's why
It's
it's
not gonna
bullshit. It's why it's bullshit.
Like, there's been times I've smoked a cigar, like, I'll take like a Liga Corona Doble. By the time I get to the halfway point, if it's a hot, humid day, it's not going to smoke well because it's too humidified at that point. Like, there's no ashtray that's going to change that. Smoking indoors changes that. Like,
And
I
most
worry- I
most
worry
people
the-
can't
I-
smoke indoors.
Most people, like I said, most people can't. We're kind of a little privileged here that we can.
Yeah.
But even so, I hate having a cigar. Like Pat just said, I will not smoke a cigar in a human. Some of the times when I was smoking that in the Dominican, it was some of the worst cigars I had because it was humid. I hate to say it. Cigars that I like just don't even smoke the same. So
So if you're gonna do that, like if you're gonna smoke in Miami in July outside, like smoke something small. But Corona Doble,
an
no way.
ashtray is not going to change that.
No.
an ashtray.
It's
That's
not gonna
kind of.
happen.
I need to see a use case with this. Is kind of what I need to see before I'm sold on it. I give always someone credit for being innovative, though. I will never take that away.
But humor me for a second. Even if it, quote, does work, right? How much is it really affecting all of the variables in the cigar?
We don't know. We don't know. Yeah, we don't know. It may
Like,
not. I mean,
I just don't
You
get
know,
it.
the other side of it, like to that point, the argument, and you're not wrong, Matt, but it goes to like if you buy a Dupont versus a Vertigo. Like at the end of the day, it's fire, but there's something about the Dupont that makes it worth it, right? Now, I don't think that's going to be an example of this ashtray,
yeah.
but it's.
I mean, you're talking about a pretty good product versus an extremely well-made product that
Yeah.
perform a similar duty, but they both just like the cigar. You got a guy who's going like, oh yeah, like this is going to completely change the entire taste of the cigar. That's a pretty bold claim for an
Well, that's
ashtray.
the problem that they're.
Even
that's
a
the
lighter
whole
cutter, nothing's going to do that. And don't
Yeah,
bullshit
that's the
me.
whole
Like,
digging.
I know that just because I lit this cigar with a $1,700 lighter, that doesn't mean it's going to taste any better. I know that. It's a very well-made piece of art that I appreciate. And it, functionally, as a lighter, it's a great lighter and it's never going to let me down. But I know the cigar is going to taste the same. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's where I'm coming from. Like, he's like, this is just an ashtray that was just designed. Like, no batteries. Like, it's not like it's an electronic thing either where it's like it gets ice cold, like it's got a pump in it. Like it's an ashtray with an ergonomic design that dissipates heat. Like, okay.
That's what I'm the most curious about is, does it actually work?
That's
Right,
what I'm curious. I am curious enough to see the use case with this. Yes.
And again, like as an attorney, does it work? Like, is someone gonna buy this and actually check if it works? And they're telling you it's gonna make the cigar cooler. It's gonna do the. Is it gonna happen? Are you misinforming the consumer? Is it just a ceramic ashtray? Like,
Yeah.
From what I
it's
read, I
big.
mean, it's a ceramic ashtray or made with some similar material that just dissipates heat. Because it was very clear, like it's not electronic. It doesn't have batteries. It doesn't do anything that's like, wow. Look, it's not like, it doesn't have refrigerant in it. It's just an ashtray that dissipates heat, and that makes the cigar taste better because it doesn't let the oils get as hot. It's like, yeah, but even so, even if it doesn't get as hot, like how much of a change are we really talking for an ashtray that we assume is going to be pretty high priced?
If it's a hot summer day, and you have a white porcelain or whatever, like ceramic ashtray, and you touch it, it's not going to be hot.
Jay said apparently you put ice in it. But even still, like, you got an ashtray full of water after?
I have an ashtray.
I could do that now. I have ashtrays with open bottoms. I could fill it up, put some over the bottom, like there's ice in there.
Yeah, but it's
It's
like I said, there are ashtrays that won't get hot. To Pat's point, Pat nailed it.
It's just I don't know. Like
he got a lot of attention on this.
he did because it's so ridiculous. Luke Kelly, this sounds like bullshit because it is, Luke. I'm glad you pay attention.
Maybe it's a marketing thing. I mean, everyone's talking about it, right?
Yeah, I'm willing to kind of, like I said, see the thing out first. I'm willing to do that. And Matt, you may be right. I think there's a good chance you could be right? And even if I just don't know if my taste is that sophisticated, maybe even. Like I said, I know one of my premium Davidoffs are gonna smoke good, regardless. So
Yeah.
excellent, rather.
Yeah, we know that. I don't need a special ashtray to enjoy it either. I
Yeah.
know, like, I'm gonna light it and cut it and put it on a standard ceramic ashtray, and it's gonna be great because it was made well and it was blended
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I mean, I just
I'm
like,
more
come
excited
on.
about I'm more excited about El Septimo expanding the culinary series. That's what I want to see Zaya do. That's what I'd rather see him focus his attention on that, because I think they got something with that.
Yeah, I think if anything, it's a marketing thing to get people to buy it to see if it works, and at that point, he already got your money. So it'll be a quick
Yeah.
flash, and then when people realize it's full of shit, sales will drop off eventually.
Yeah. By the way, a few folks were asking about, like, well, to me, was this the only patent in the cigar industry? No.
No,
So I could give you a few examples of cigars. Like Lito's got the patent on the chisel.
correct.
Scott Weeks has on one of his sizes. I think it's the Sidewinder. He's got a patent on that.
Stinky
And,
Ashtray has a patent on their ashtrays.
Stingy has a patent on it. Yep.
Yeah.
The other one I'm thinking about is I think I was telling Matt about this. The Nunchuck has a patent.
Yeah. Espinosa.
There was a company that worked with Espinosa. They did a cigar with a nunchuck where they literally put two cigars and they fused them together with a stem into a nunchuck. They have a patent on that. Was it anything? It was, and that was totally gimmicky, by the way. The cigar was okay, but it was cool, but it was gimmicky. So just because you patent something, Scott Weeks' Sidewinder wasn't gimmicky, by the way. It was actually, and Chisel's not gimmicky.
No.
And they're similar, kind of how
Chisel's actually a pretty fun smoke.
Chisel's a fun smoke.
It does serve a purpose if you smoke it correctly.
Right. I still cut it, by the way. I still do not try to pop the cap off, because I like to get a little
You punch
more.
it. You punch both sides.
I don't even punch it. I do a straight cut, but I want to get a little more of off of it.
No, but Lito Gomez is said, like, the idea behind the chisel, you punch one side and then halfway through you punch the other side, and the idea is that the smoke, because it's flat when you put it in your mouth, the smoke comes right up off the roof of your mouth, so it gets a little cooler.
Yeah.
And something like that makes like somewhat sense to me. I've smoked it that way. I wouldn't say it's night and day, but it's a different experience.
Yeah.
I mostly cut it myself. Just because it's just easier that way, and it's fine. But at least, like, there's a little bit of, like, logic behind it, I guess.
Yeah.
Because tobacco is funny.
Like
You can do stuff with it, but an ashtray is an ashtray.
Yeah, like
I mean-
the chisels. I almost use it for the same reason why Lito invented it, was because he was driving and he kind of, like, I don't know if he was chewing it or he kind of morphed it with his fingers, but he got like this, like the chisel shape from whatever he was
The
doing.
flat head, yeah.
The flat head. So, like, when I would be, like, driving, I would get, like, the double Ajero chisels, which is, like, kind of like half the size, half the gauge, smaller. And you just take it out of the, box, you get it. You can just put it in your mouth and kind of, like, chomp your teeth on it, get the cap off, and just light it up. So it's just easier if you're driving.
Yeah.
That's why I smoke.
Yeah.
Or if you pinch the sides of it,
Well, you can pinch it, yeah.
you pinch it
light
and it just cracks it.
right up.
Yeah.
That's how
Is the,
Carney taught me how to smoke it.
Because I don't actually know this. Is Fuente Sharp patented?
I don't know the answer to that.
Oh, that's a good question.
That's
Because no one else makes one.
No one else does it, yeah.
Which essentially, the Shark is a box press bellicoso, right?
Yeah,
Well,
it's
it's
box
box
press
press
and it
at
goes to
top.
a regular preho in the neck and the head.
Yeah.
I'm curious about that.
There's only 2 people that make them, too.
Yeah, I'm curious. I wonder if it's patented or just no one else just makes it because they can't make them. I wonder.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. That's a good question for Carlito or Jose.
Yeah, at least we know a guy that we can ask that to, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
We do. We know a couple people.
Oh,
I don't know the answer to that, Coop. I'll have to,
talk to Carlito.
oh, talk to
And Jose will be
Carlito.
honest on that. By the way, Jose will be and that's okay.
Yeah, sure. And you know what? And if he doesn't know, he'll find out and he'll tell you. Because you'll ask him a question and he'll be like, oh, I don't know. And then like 3 hours later, he'll be like, Okay, so here's the deal. He'll tell you. I mean,
I
the weird
think
thing about Jose is he'll always find out and tell you.
Because
He's a good
if
wealth
a
of
company,
information.
when I was in Italy, and Jose had told me the stores to go to, and when they were closed, right? Jose went and called the guys, like what was going on, and it turned out it was vacation week in Italy that I was there, so they closed the store for a month. So, but Jose went on the job, and he was calling me on my middle of my Italy trip, and I felt so bad because I rushed my wife down there, and she was great. You know, she said she wanted me to get. It was one day we had to go to the the La Casa del Habano, and they were closed.
so I'm just thinking, if a company did that exact size, I feel like there'd be a lawsuit.
They called it Shark, yes, but I think if Carlito saw that, I think there would be.
Yeah.
And, you talk about Fuente again. Opus X was innovative. I mean, a lot of people have copied now the Dominican wrapper, but they were telling Carlito you can't grow wrapper in the Dominican, and he proved them wrong.
That's right.
Well, you're smoking one now that's Jamaican wrapper. The OG.
The LJ, yeah.
Yep.
This is, by the way, this is a great cigar. Holy cow! I mean, this is one of my favorite LGs I've ever had.
And there's like a story to that I don't quite remember. There's some regulars at Twins that are huge LFD fans, and they went on a factory tour, and they had the LG wrapper crop under the cheesecloth, and there was something different about this specific release that they changed, and I can't remember what it is now on top of my head.
Do you guys remember? And this was in the same vein. That's why do you remember when the 1994 came out? They came out with the Beerstein version.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow! Was that? And it was just, wow! It was just wow. That was a Maduro version that they had and they never released it again. I don't know why they never released it. It's such a great cigar. My only complaint about that was the Beerstein should have been humidified. They should have. You can't. It's not meant for humidification. But that would have been awesome if you could just keep storing your stuff in there afterwards. That's why.
Sorry, I'm looking at my notes here for the show. I don't mean to be. I'm gonna save those for next week.
Yeah, we'll be back on next week.
Yeah, I'm gonna save those for next week. I think it'll be a little more impactful closer to the show too. But yeah, that's my list of topics for this week. Just so you guys know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna save that for next week.
Yeah, I mean the other stuff could if we need filler will be good for that too.
I will say our third soccer roulette contest is still going on.
What is this one? Now, what is this one?
So this one, we kind of did the opposite of the first one. Instead, it was send us something nice about Steve, or make a suggestion. But make it positive. Don't be like, hey, I'd like to see this, or no more roast. The opposite of the roast. Let's say something positive about Steve.
I like that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of positives about Steve, and he's really a good person.
And don't just say the cigars are great. Tell me why. What and or him or get creative.
I think the thing about Steve that I like and why I like Dunbarton is his whole brand is basically I'm making cigars I like, and if you don't like them, I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? He's not blending for the market per se. He's blending for his own palate.
He may come out of the size of the market, but yeah, I agree with you with that. I can't think of a cigar that wasn't in his palate. A couple of things like he says, don't buy him. It's not because the blend isn't good. It's because of price or something like that.
And speaking of making sizes for the market, one of the things that came to mind was the Bronzeback. So the first release was it's not a petite Robusto, but it was a thinner Robusto. And then the new size is a traditional Robusto. I was expecting a Toro on the Bronzeback.
Yeah, he It was like a Rothschild that other size almost. Yeah.
Was that a Jose? What was that?
That was just my saga.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, yeah, Yusaka. Yeah. But yeah, go to smokingtobacco.com, contact us page, send us a middle in. Give us something positive about Steve. Make a suggestion, and I'll pass them along to Steve. If you have something you want to make a suggestion, something you want to see, something you want to see him do. Be creative with it. That's the only thing I ask. Be creative with it. But
and put quality into it. Yeah, because I thought even some of the roast ones were somewhat cruel, but other ones just was no thought into it today. So
yeah. The guy who won was a
Also-
little rough. He really got into him.
no, he was very
And-
rough. He was very rough.
Yeah, he was really rough. That was a little too much.
Yeah.
And if you win the contest, give us 7 business days, so Monday through Friday, 7 business days to take your information down and to ship.
Oh, you guys are
the product
kind.
to you.
You guys are kind. I use 30 days. So.
Yeah, and make sure that we connect with you as soon as possible, because sometimes people don't get the message, they don't answer, and then they want you to get on a
give
plane
us
and fly it to them.
7 days, like once you reach out to us, 7 business days.
Yeah,
Well,
which
and
is
on
usually
top
our
of that-
standard window
Well, here's on top
when
of
we
that,
have your
when you win-
information.
When you win, make sure you're aware. If you're entering the contest, and you should be aware when and where, and you guys do tell that, so it's not the problem. But how many I have had, I can tell you, we've had prizes not claimed, including like this $1,000. We had $1,000 quality importers humidor that 2 people didn't claim. After that one, it went to the 3rd person. And then we had another thing where they said they didn't get. They sent the email, and I said, look, if I don't respond back to you, I didn't get your information. So give these. There's a lot of work that Pat and Matt are doing to run these contests. They are a lot of work, and if you're entering, just please. There's plenty of ways you can find out if you won, and to do it for these guys, please, because it's a lot of work to do a contest. Believe it or not.
It is.
Yep.
It is.
Yeah,
and
it is. Yeah, it is.
getting to
Respectful.
people, tracking them down, getting their information,
Yeah.
and that's
Well, I
not
don't-
always
yeah,
easy.
yeah. Like we use email, and I basically tell people if you're not on email, and then we shoot a video actually too. So on top of that, so we're transparent on how it's won. So so just kind of like I said, it's a lot of work, is what I'm saying. But follow the mechanisms.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, and these guys work hard on it. So you want to make sure it's claimed.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. I appreciate that, Coop. Thank you.
Yep.
But that's going to be our show this week. We're going to wrap it up there.
Yep.
We'll be back next weekend before the trade show. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for listening. If you're listening to us later on the podcast platform, thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And visit smokingtobacco.com for more news, reviews, and updates from the cigar industry. Our Premium Cigar Association trade show that's coming up, with coverage brought to you by Drew Estate, the rebirth of cigars. And for our Saka Roulette contest, once again, head over to the smokingtobacco.com website and go to the Contact Us page and submit your submissions for the March Saka Roulette contest. And a winner will be picked on Wednesday night. Box of DTT and a DTT mug is up for grabs. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me and ask me. I'll give you some help. But that's it. That's our show tonight. Gentlemen, thank you both for being here with me. And great show.